What's up, everyone? It's Vapors with Dragomar, and now it's time for some more League of Legends. In this episode, we're going to be showing some Illoai in Twisted Treeline and how it compares to my story. Now, the thing about my story is, my story revolves around three characters: Vaporsmith, Zethalion, and Sethandra. That's why there's three accounts. They represent those three characters. Illoai is one of the closest things. There's no match in League to Sethandra, but she's one of the characters that's closer to it because she is this beautiful woman yet has a very powerful physique. She is a very powerful warrior and somewhat sorcerer-like. But Sethandra is different because she has more sorcery, and she's more like Voidbringer Illoai. And on our team, we also have a Draven and a Misfortune. So the thing I'm trying to do in my story is to set up this very interesting atmosphere, make it even better than Twist the Treeline, and I tried to change the exact colorations in the footage, but it was a bit tricky because the recording software, I mean, what happened was it was perfectly colored fine outside the recording software. But when I imported it into there, it became washed out, and I had to adjust the brightness. So I'm going to take a look into how I can convert the formats maybe. Maybe it's the format that it comes in that's the problem. As for the runes, Grasp of the Undying is not the ideal rune. I've learned there's a much better rune called Kleptomancy, and I'll show you just how many times better it is. Because you see, Kleptomancy provides gold, and Illoai needs a lot of gold to really pop off. So that, and her tentacles proc Kleptomancy, so it's extremely useful. As well as if you take Kleptomancy and you add Resolve to it, it's especially good. Here I'm going to start me farming. We have the Misfortune and the Draven. The Misfortune and the Draven are going to both be quite the headache, although the Draven is more useful, arguably, than the Misfortune. So we're going to be getting these minions. We're going to be hitting his tower. I misaimed my tentacle, which is really bad, because I was expecting him to spin over me. That's part of why I was slamming it that way. Gonna slam it on those minions. Poppy gets first blood, and our Draven gets a return kill on the Poppy. I get a tested spirit on him, and I get his vessel. Unfortunately, Misfortune goes 200 tower and kills herself. And so then I try to hit that vessel. He uses heal. Tryndamere is notorious for having a lot of healing. That's part of the thing that makes him so annoying to fight. Here, I don't know if I can 2v1 at level 2. Gonna try to chug a potion, stick around. See, Grasp of the Undying can work on Illoai, but it's not ideal, because Illoai isn't a pure tank. So yeah, I'm going to be farming minions, as per usual. My story, I started off in a wooden shack. I'm going to talk about this more. And I try to talk about her finding information in a specific scroll. Sethandra's kind of a semi-lizard-like creature, somewhat like how Shyvana is like part creature. And she has that very powerful physique like Illoai, as I mentioned. She's a bit curvier than Illoai, but she also has this conflicted personality. And her voice doesn't sound quite like Illoai. It sounds a bit like Kaisa. Anyway, here I get to test the spirit. The tether breaks off and slows her, which allows me to get an easy kill on the Poppy because she already comes in on relatively low health. Not exactly sure why she would do this. I have been taking a detailed look at what my competitors have been doing. Draven gets a good kill on the Tryndamere. I will be showing ranked footage and stuff as well. I've been very busy trying to grind this game and improve at it, as well as study what my competitors are doing. I will be showing the darker side of Illoai, because you see, there is a side where you can succeed at Illoai, but there's also a side where you can get destroyed as Illoai. So there's that too. One of the ways to get destroyed as Illoai is you don't find any kills. Finding kills on Illoai is essential to make Illoai work, because Illoai is quite the snowbally champion, and also not only does she snowball hard off kills, but she also needs kills to stay relevant, to keep herself tanky and her damage high, because it's very important for her damage to be high, because she doesn't have any form of crowd control. She doesn't really have utility. She has a slow, but she doesn't, like, all of her threat is she's difficult to kill, and she does a lot of damage. You take that away, she doesn't really have any crowd control, and if she can get killed easily, she can't do a long sustained fight and destroy everyone. Because that's core to Illoai. Illoai loves sustained fights. The longer the fight goes on, the more it favors Illoai, pretty much, for the most part. There are some exceptions to this rule, but by and large, most things cannot do a sustained duel against Illoai. That's why everything that fights... Another thing is not just a sustained duel. She also doesn't like things with high mobility. Anyone with high mobility prevents her from sustained dueling, and it also may prevent her from landing her Test of the Spirit. Her Test of the Spirit, which is her E ability, is a tether ability, and the longer someone stays on it or gets hit by it, the more they get hit by it, the more gold Illoai gets, especially if she's using Kleptomancy. And also, it's a big part of her damage. Test of the Spirit is very important for getting Illoai's damage. Now, in this match, I am mainly trying to carry. This was my first time playing Illoai on this account. I just bought Illoai at this time. But then, later on, I realized how valuable Kleptomancy is for this. Here, I try to land my Test of Spirit. I don't get it. Draven gets a kill onto the Poppy, and my ultimate gets a kill onto the Tryndamere. Tryndamere, the main thing with Tryndamere is you have to try to knock out him semi-early, because Tryndamere has a big bonus when he gets items. Tryndamere items are very valuable on him because it gives him increased damage and crit threat. We managed to get the first turret of the game, despite the fact he's been dying a lot. Here I try to hit them. I get a Test of Spirit, which is really good. And here I have to try to get my tentacle off. I go on a killing spree, get the tether off. And I get a harsh lesson onto the Tristana. And I'm wondering whether I should duel the Tristana. Tristana backs off. And Poppy gets a shutdown on the Draven. Unfortunately, this starts going downhill after Poppy gets a shutdown on the Draven. Here, I get very low with the Hammer Shock, but I get a Test of Spirit, and with my Harsh Lesson and Misfortune's damage, I take out the Poppy. So there is some of the dueling potential that Illoai exhibits. It's actually pretty insane, dueling potential, as you can clearly see, especially if you manage to land the Test of the Spirit. So whenever you're fighting Illoai, you always have to watch out for the Test of the Spirit and the Tentacle Smash, because those, they lead into stuff, especially the Test of the Spirit. You have to look for that always, whenever you're fighting an Illoai, because that's how Illoai gets a lead. And once Illoai gets a lead, it becomes increasingly difficult to stop. Here, I get some damage on him. I get a Test of Spirit. I get some damage on him. he uses his ultimate to get away, I think. And yeah, he walks away, spins away. But that gives me extra pressure that I can have on this lane. Because I could have killed him right there. But he had ulti. He used ulti. Ulti prevents Tryndamere from dying, for those of you who are curious. And it allows him to escape. However, he can't escape me forever, and I will get a lot of items. But the thing about items that you got to know about Black Cleaver and tank items and everything, you can get these items faster if you do Kleptomancy. Graspy 9 does give survivability, but it's kind of a weird trade-off. Like, you get initial survivability, but then you get less survivability because your stats are not as high because you don't get your items early. You don't get early Black Cleaver, early Dead Man's Plate, early Trinity Force potentially, all these early carry items. You don't get all of that if you use Grasp. Anyway, he's going to be hitting minions as per usual. Tryndamere's one of the big things that they have a big dueling potential like Illoai, and their other big strength like Illoai is split pushing. Tryndameres are very good at hitting towers and getting farm and split pushing. The one way that you can tell, see, and I've completed Black Cleaver and I got some more damage. One thing you can tell if a Tryndamere is truly good is that they will split push and they will get a lot of minions and they will try to take your base that way if they get behind. It's one way you could truly, if they can pull it off effectively. The more effectively they can pull off the split push, the better the Tryndamere they are. Tryndamere is a very, like, simple champion. That's part of why that is. And then I missed the Test of Spirit. That was a big problem. I'm going to hit these minions. You always have to really back off if you've missed the Test of Spirit. Sometimes if you miss the Test of Spirit, it will just straight up kill you. That right there tells you how important Test of Spirit is for Illoai. Here, Velachos gets this Draven who stands up too close. I get my ulti off. My ulti, I managed to kill Tryndamere with it. So yeah, this is quite the clown fiesta. As you can probably tell, this is a clown fiesta. I have done Illoai in draft pick and elsewhere. The weakness of Illoai, especially in draft pick and ranked in general, is you have to be careful about getting camped, especially in the early game before you get your items. Because Illoai, unless you're really experienced around turning around 2v1s, she's weak to 2v1s in the early game. Now, in the mid game is where, in the late game and mid game, is where Illoai truly shines with the 2v1s, because Illoai can do a lot of great stuff with that. And unfortunately, I get launched with Poppy's ultimate back into my base. Now, have I done work on my other two accounts? Yes. But why is this particular one important is because Sithandra is the main conflicted protagonist in my latest story. Sithandra and the Shadow of the Apocalypse. Now, that's its current name. It could... See, the Shadow of the Apocalypse is basically the great evil, Zethalion. He's known in the story as the world's greatest evil. Sithandra's trying to do research on some texts about him, but can't entirely figure out what the texts mean, and she wants to try to find out more information about what she can do about the great coming evil that's threatening the entire world. The footage has gone out reasonably well. Here I get a Test Spirit, and I managed to get a Tentacle Smash after getting my Test Spirit. Unfortunately, Draven dies yet again. Yeah, they die a lot, by the way. The Misfortune and the Draven in this match die a lot. I'm going to be getting a Test the Spirit and then a Harsh Lesson. Here he gets away. I don't really care about it. I just want to focus on CS because getting gold in the early game for Illoai is huge. It's one thing you must always know. You always want to get the maximum farm. Here I get my tested spirit. I get a harsh lesson that gets a good amount of damage. Tristana's got built up some decent items. So now she does decent crit. I mean, Tristana can 1v9, so it's pretty scary to face a Tristana for that reason. And one of the keys to stop that from happening is Illoai. As Illoai, you always want to stay ahead of farm and experience. You always want to look for opportunities to get fed. Okay, he's got his ulti up, and Draven kills himself to the Tryndamere by trying to tower dive him when Tryndamere has ulti. And Poppy obviously is going to kill the Misfortune. Or she managed. Okay, I get a test spirit. That's good. Get some damage going. And yeah, I get that going. So I got the tether there. She uses her steadfast presence to kill Poppy. I mean, not kill Poppy. Kill Misfortune there by preventing me from getting onto her. She uses her ultimate. Poppy uses her ultimate, Keeper's Verdict, to knock me back to the beginning. I'm going to be getting more items. I'm currently 6-0. And I'm getting some more damage, so I could do some more damage to the non-tanks other than Poppy. Draven's trying to juggle his axes. He gets knocked back. His axe juggling is pretty poor, to be honest with, like, very bad, to be honest with you. But then again, he was telling me he's just starting to play Draven. And the trouble is, I was discussing to him about Draven. He's like, yeah, it's not for noobs. And he is a noob, as you can probably tell. Anyway, here I get my ultimate off, and I get my ultimate to kill them. Okay, I get the tether off. That gives us slow. I should have just pursued with the harsh lesson, because that might have finished Poppy off. Because that was a mistake on my part. Okay, managed to land and test the spirit. Try to get tentacle smash. Trying to get as much damage as possible. I don't really want to fight him necessarily under the tower, because it's risky business fighting Tryndamere under a tower. His crit strike chance is pretty high, and I don't really have a lot of items to just straight up dive at Tryndamere, so I'd rather just leave him there for a while, play safe, get farm, get items, and spawn tentacles, and use my ultimate and my test spirit in team fights. It's very important. I'm also trying to try to teach my teammates how to play their champions. Unfortunately, they are not very aware of how to play their champions, or how to play safe, or get farm, or do everything right. The Draven is more informed than the Misfortune, obviously, but he's still nowhere close to what the enemies are, so I have to try to bridge the gap of skill. So here I get my test spirit. He uses his ultimate to survive, but I get him low. That gives pressure. Pressure is very important. Here I get my my harsh lesson. Here I get the ignite off, and the tower shot finishes off the Poppy. I do miss my test spirit there, which was messy. I will show a cleaner version of Illoai doing this. This was me derusting on Illoai and Twisted Treeline. The skill of the opponents you get in Twisted Treeline varies greatly. I'll also show a Kali in Twisted Treeline is also insane. The skill in this game, though, varies a lot. I did win a ranked match semi-recently on Nasus, going 5-1-3. but it wasn't really much of a contest because the enemy team was feeding their butts off because I kind of went away from ranked when I got demoted into the depths of bronze. And then when I came back, I found that it wasn't really much of a contest between me and the enemy team because I had ground up so much since then that I was relatively OP in many ways. Um, Even on Nasus. Because see, the thing about Nasus is that there's a lot of skill levels of Nasus. Like all champions in League, some Nasuses can get to silver and high ratings easy, and other Nasuses have to work a lot harder at it. So here I get a Tentacle Smash, and I get a Test the Spirit. It's successful. I get my ulti off, and I move my Tentacle, and I manage to become legendary. That's right, legendary. You saw it here first. And I missed my tentacle. I mean, my Test the Spirit. I'm hoping that the resolution is at least as good as it is in the recording, if not better, because sometimes I have trouble with the resolution on my recordings. Sometimes. Especially because Twisted Treeline's an older map. So I got a harsh lesson here. I do like the grass that's located on the inner rims of the Twisted Treeline. I like the landscape. I like the way Twisted Treeline looks. That's part of why I play it, is because I like the way it looks, and I like the style of it to an extent. I have done insane plays with Viger in Twisted Treeline. I've actually beaten people that are incredibly fed as Viger, but also as Illoai and Akali, so I will cover all of those, as well as Poppy, and yes, I've done insane plays with Poppy in this, and Kaisa. Kaisa is another good one, if you get it right. Keywords, if you get it right. It can go both ways with Kaisa. Yeah, Turret has slain the Poppy, the enemy Poppy, T-Money. Going back to base to get some items. I have been watching the Mario Maker footage that people have been doing and how challenging it is. It is interesting, and I do try to aim for the best quality of stuff I can. It's not always easy, and I find it even harder to post often, which has been a problem for me because I'm like trying to get quality footage, trying to see how I can polish the footage, how I can make better commentary, and do a better job. And the same with my story. I've been trying to figure out how to make my story really good quality. It's not easy because there are so many people to compete against, so many facets of the story. Like, okay, you like, they like sexy women in stories. Okay, we can add that. But how can we present this woman in such a way to make her really stand out? So I'm legendary. I get the tether to slow. They get out of the way of the tentacles. I get a slow on the Poppy. Poppy's trying to get away with her steadfast presence. That move does deny people a lot. And it allows Poppy to make lots of really insane plays. Unfortunately here, I overextend and get shut down by the Tristana. This is actually very catastrophic, although the catastrophe is slightly reduced when Draven gets a kill on the Poppy. Trinamir, though, is going to clean house because he's going to go spin with a spinning slash and get some basic attacks and just straight up murder the Draven. And then go on to murder the Misfortune. He's obviously going to slow her with Mocking Shout and get the ace. This is the most dangerous part of the entire run. So here I get a Dead Man's Play and Death Stance, which gives me both lifesteal, damage, and armor, as well as extra health. And I then come and kill more of these minions. I mean, you can become legendary on Illoai, but there's always a chance if you play it wrong or you mess up that you're gonna get just suddenly shut down and suddenly they're gonna have a huge advantage. So there's that. That's one of the problems, like of playing hyper carries, is the fact that if you get shut down as a hyper carry, it gives the enemy team a huge advantage. But then if you manage to come back and keep the momentum going afterwards, then you can try to reduce the impact of getting shut down had. All right, so here I'm going to get my tentacles and try to, okay, there I got the ignite off with the harsh lesson. I get my ulti. I try to flash away because I'm worried that Treeline might get an extra crit, and his critical strike chance is not to be underestimated. Here I get another Test of Spirit, beautiful Test of Spirit onto Tristana, giving her extra damage, slowing her, and potentially making her have to back off. So we're going to be pushing up onto the turrets. We're getting into the third tier of turrets. I'm going to be taking turrets. Do not underestimate the power of taking turrets. Because taking turrets, especially in Twisted Treeline, where it's difficult to end games because of people dying a lot. Here, I got a shutdown on the Treeline, and I get my Test of Spirit onto the Poppy, and I do some damage, and I get her flash, at the very least. Misfortune gets a good ultimate onto my vessel of the Test of Spirit and allows, and does a lot of damage to it, which allows the vessel to do so much damage, the Poppy immediately has to back up. So it keeps the pressure going. This pressure is huge in this mode, where towers go down with relative ease. The map is smaller than 5v5, and where the momentum of this map can change in an instant. So you always have to keep that in mind. But any advantage you can get in terms of towers or objectives is huge. So I get a Sheen and a Glacial Shroud for extra armor. Although that is not necessarily the best item on Illoai, it was just an experimental item. I unfortunately get knocked away by the Poppy. Although I get Poppy very low, which again gives more pressure. I'm going to try to farm these minions. Try to get as much gold as I can. And that's where Kleptomancy comes in, to try to get more gold. I do like the ground and the structure of the rocks. Like, it looks really interesting. It looks like a ancient sorcery land. I'm also trying to coach my teammates to stop dying, because unfortunately my teammates they haven't really gotten the not dying part down. I'm trying to say slow down on the deaths, so I can carry. And Tristana kills her Misfortune, who probably has around 10 deaths by now. Something ridiculous. Okay, I land Test Spirit. It's nice, good damage. Fortunately, they move out of tether range, although that still does some damage. Might add a slow, that particular Test of the Spirit. I'm going to land my the Test of Spirit onto them again. Yep, get some good damage here. I get my ultimate off. potentially get a slow. And if they didn't dodge that tentacle, Tristana would probably be dead because my tentacles do a lot of damage right now. I'm going to be trying to chase, trying to give some damage onto them. Draven is probably going to overextend again by a lot. I am going to show you a really good Illoai one. This is only moderately good. Like, I have one that's, like, unbelievable. Like, this is a hard carry, but it's not my best hard carry. My best hard carry is, like, it's, like, unreal. And we have even more insane feeders and even more insane carries going on with that. Okay, so I'm going to be trying to chase these guys. And going to try to land the test spirit if we can catch them. One of the problems with trying to catch Tryndamere and Poppy is that they have a relatively high move speed. And Poppy is also very tanky. Here, I land test spirit. Decent damage. Although I would like them to stay longer in the tether range, the longer they stay in there. But here we go, and then I get test spirit, ulti, I go on a killing spree. Here, I get rather low from the Tristana. And unfortunately, Tristana's on a rampage, kills off the Draven again. Because Draven's not juggling his axes correctly or playing him well. I try to get away, although Illoai does not have a lot of mobility. I try to flash to try to deal with that. And Misfortune gets her first kill of the game by ulting the Poppy under tower. So now she's 110 and 10. I'm 14-1. Draven's like some kills and a huge number of deaths by now. Like, huge. So you can plainly see Draven has gone from getting kills to just basically feeding for the most part. Feeding really hard. Because he gets behind. And once Draven gets behind, he becomes a huge focus point. Everyone's just going to go to kill him. It's hard to peel for someone who just keeps dying, though. I'll give you that. Like, I'd get a Knight's Vow, and I'd peel for the Draven if the Draven could just get a lead and not die constantly. The fact that he's dying constantly doesn't really make him a valuable target to keep alive. Anyway, it's very hard to keep him alive anyway, but I'll try my best. So here, I get my test spear. Unfortunately, I should have persisted with the Tristana, and I make a huge mistake, and I walk back. See, I was thinking this was a good idea because then I could like get all three of them and then get more tentacles onto them. This is my thinking. I do get a test of spirit, but Tryndamere has ulti and gets a shutdown. So yeah, like I was thinking for a second, you know, go after the Tristana. Wait, if the other guys are low, maybe I could polish them off, but I bit off more than I could chew there, and that's really, really bad. This nearly ends the match. Because obviously Draven is not going to survive. He's going to get some damage on them, but he's not going to be able to survive because he's too behind. And Misfortune is probably going to try to defend, but is probably going to die very shortly afterwards. Because I'm basically, okay, he puts the ult, see, she puts out the ult to try to defend, and Tryndamere comes and kills off Misfortune. So then they take the turret. As you can probably tell, Misfortune and Draven are really bad at this game. Even worse than I am by a significant amount. Now, I'm going to continue to farm these minions, and I'm going to try to make a pick. I have Iceborne Gauntlet now, so I'm tankier. Although if I had a different rune setup, I could get the Iceborne Gauntlet or any other items I wanted a lot sooner than this point in the game. And here I'm going to be, and I wasn't entirely aware of how big of a deal this was. So then I get my ultimate, I get a slow, I get some pressure and some tentacle smashes. It's not enough to kill the Poppy because the Poppy's building a lot of tank. And it's often very difficult to kill a tank, but you at least can get some pressure on them. And a minion has slain, Vile Maw has slain Trinomir, so they tried to take Vile Maw, which is the equivalent of Baron Nashor in Twisted Treeline. Going to continue to put some pressure on this tower. Draven gets a turret. He's trying to learn Draven. Still bad. Okay, I get that. And then I get ulti. I get the Test Spirit on the Poppy. And I get a shutdown. My X Tentacles. And I get a double kill. And I get the Ace. I do have Mastery 7 on Illoai on a different account. It was on my Lord Vaporsmith 1, my main account. This is an alternate account I've made called Empress Sithandra. And I get Tez's Spirit. Trinomir gets past the ulti. And I try to walk away from him, make sure the ulti expires. So then I can get my harsh lesson on him and kill him. Prevent him from getting the last crit. The reason I was walking away from that is because I knew that if he got an additional crit, he could have killed me and then like tried to solo end the game. And a minion has killed our Misfortune. And we get this turret. And we get an inhibitor. It's very good. And of course Poppy is going to be coming after us. Draven's going to be using his Bloodlust to try to run away. His Blood Rush. He's going to put his ulti to try to get away. He's going to recall. I'm going to recall. Yep, our Misfortune has died again. This time to execution. And this time I've completed a Sterix gauge on top of that. And a Giant's Belt to give extra health. And if the game goes on further, I can turn the Giant's Belt into a Warmogs for additional regen and healing. Which can be relatively useful in this mode, considering how important it is to survive, especially as Illoai, because Illoai likes sustained duels. She likes living for a long time because it allows her to get all of her damage and her passive and all of this stuff to really destroy people, which is a lot of what Illoai is about. Destroying people and being a durable semi-tank, like basically an off-tank, if you will, without crowd control, though. She doesn't really have any forms of hard crowd control. Because a lot of tanks like Poppy and Maokai have crowd control. Leona. We got Tentacle Smash. Kill that minion. Should get the Test of Spirit. That's right. Got the Test of Spirit. And then Draven gets a kill. And then with my ulti, I go on a rampage, kill the Trinomir, and then we start to end the game and kill the Nexus. And our Misfortune almost instantly dies. I slam the Tentacle, I get the Test of Spirit. And with the Harsh Lesson and the Ace, we end the game. Finally, I win my first game of Illoai on that account. That when I bought it, I bought Illoai on it. And I hope you enjoyed that hard carry. I will show more Illoai, and I will talk more about how my story is progressing. And I will see you later on that video when I can post it.